Let's get into talking about Psi Games.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for this. Psi Games, pretty much the Psychic Olympics is the elevator pitch, as we said, which is amazing. A lot of amazing speakers are going to be there. Who else you got there? You got Sean Webb's going to be there. Chris Bledsoe.
Tom Campbell.
Oh wow, Tom Campbell.
Yep. Dr. Diane Powell.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have some big names.
All-star lineup.
Yeah, all-star lineup of people coming to talk and to share and teach, like yourself.
Yep. Yeah. You know? I'm coming to talk about, some stuff correlating to the art of magic and that'll be a lot of fun. But I think for the most part, what I'm mostly excited about is for the very first time, we're going to have or see a competitive psychic event. Can you walk us through what exactly that's going to look like?
Yeah. You mean the games themselves?
Yeah.
So the games I can't really expand upon, just to make sure people don't start like
cheating.
Cheating and training for the game. So we're kind of keeping those secret. But on the website, we do have like a brief synopsis of like what it might be about, and give you some practices that you can do meditatively to kind of help you get better at the skill you will need to.
Can you let us know what the categories are?
Yeah, so there are 5 categories, and they are remote viewing, mind sight, precognition, psychokinesis, and pendulum dowsing. And so I chose all 5 of those because when more you talk to people, it seems like they kind of share like a common thread between all of them. Like if you talk about remote viewing, some people think that it has a lot to do with precognition, especially if you get your feedback. You know, you might be seeing your future feedback. Mind sight, if you do that enough, sometimes you don't actually see the item. You actually just know it's a cup. You get what I'm saying? So you're like, you got this local awareness, almost like remote viewing would be non-local awareness. You know, you're feeling or perceiving something at a distance. And so, there's those threads. And so then we have individual competitions and we have team competitions. And so if you have a team of 5 people, the person who the team deems is the best at remote viewing will compete in a remote viewing challenges against other individuals from other teams. And if you are the best in mind sight, you would compete in that, the person would choose that. And if you're just an individual and you don't know anybody and you're just like, I do this stuff, but I don't have a team, you can come and you can compete in those different categories against other people who are individuals competing in those categories. So that's kind of how we set it up. And yeah, it's the Psychic Olympics, man. It's going to be great.
So what, now here's the thing. When you first hear about this, you might be like, I'm sure some of you are like hyper skeptical and like, this all just sounds a little too strange for me.
Yeah.
But there is a point in doing this, and I really want you to explain why you're doing this.
Yeah.
Because it goes beyond just the sort of surface level, what this is, the psychic. It goes beyond that.
Yeah.
What's the point of doing this?
So that's a really beautiful question. I thank you so much for asking that, because like you said, we want to take it out of the hokey realm or the woo-woo realm, right? And that's the big term now. There's 2 points or 3 points, 3 reasons why I'm doing this. One is I'm a man of action. What's information without action? So right now, you have all of this stuff coming out about NHIs and UAPs and things of that nature, and waiting for disclosure. But we have disclosure, but we don't, and so one of the first things is like, well, you don't really need to. It changes the game when you can actually pick up the phone and dial the person, versus waiting for that person to call you, and to do that, you have to have that number, you have to have that relationship. And so how do we build the skills that we have, the abilities that we have that allow us to really know what we need to know, that knowing, right? And so, one way is that we have to know what the standard is, and then we can start to build on that, right? And that's one of my last reasons, but I wanted to bring it up first because of where we are and what we're talking about. My biggest reason, first it came as a download, and I didn't want to believe that it should be done because I was like, nobody's ever done this before, and and that's probably a reason, like because it doesn't make sense or something, and I'm too busy, and then all these synchronicities kept popping up where it kept coming back into my life.
When you say download, through meditation?
Yeah, well, it wasn't actually like I was in meditation. I was in a moment, I guess, of meditation
I see.
while I was traveling. And it just popped into my head, like literally, like as we were talking about muses earlier, or the idea of genius, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just sitting there and it's like, Psi Games. And I'm like, whoa, what's that? Who's that? And nobody's, and I'm just like, whoa, like, what is that? Like, oh, and then details about what it could be, why it would be, so on and so forth. And I'm like, what is this? What's going on? I'm looking it up on my phone. Nobody's done anything like this. What is that crazy? That's what. And I started to say, well, it's too big. I can't do it. And then something else would happen. And I'd be like, whoa, okay, that relates back to the Psi Game. No, I'm too big. I can't do that. Something else would happen. And I think the final straw for me was I was listening to George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell's Weaponize.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a guy from the DIA who wrote he's retired from the DIA, but he wrote Skinwalkers at the Pentagon. Have you read that book?
I have not.
That's a good book to read. And he was like, and Jeremy Corbell was like, hey, you're talking about NHIs and you're talking about all these abilities and these things, these interdimensional beings might have this and they can do this. Isn't that scary? Isn't that like overwhelming? And the guy said, no, I see no fear here. I see no danger here. He said, a matter of fact, and he's like, I can't say everything. He said, but I will say this. If humans could operate at their full potential, we wouldn't have a reason to be afraid. And I was like, Psi Games. I was like, this is why the Psi Games have to happen. We need to know what those potentials are. We need to know who's operating at one of those high levels. And that will inspire the next generation to move forward with getting better. It give people a purpose, a drive. It'll motivate. And this is in a fun way. In our culture, sometimes you say the word competitive, especially in the conscious community, and they're like, oh, no, competitive. We got to love everybody. And I'm like, yeah, competitive is just a word. And the culture you build around that word can be destructive or it can be inspirational. And so the people who are involved in that culture of competitiveness around love and excitement and the celebration of psychic abilities is what allows us to really create a new paradigm, which allows people to feel okay exploring those and growing in those ways, right? And but if you just say it's all, it's got to be all flowers and rosy and stuff like that. Yeah, it does. I want it to be love and coherence. And by the virtue of us going inside to become better at those things versus outside doing stuff on the outside, going to the expo and listening to, such and such talk and so on and so forth. The fact of we're setting people up to want to get better, which means that you have to do more work on the inside of who you are. And all of the sages and everybody talks about that. NHIs and interdimensional beings sound very scary, like me playing basketball against Michael Jordan or going into the ring with Mike Tyson. I have no skills to be able to deal with those folks, like that's really scary. I don't know. Like, what are they doing? Are they scrambling my brain? But when I have mastered those elements that will allow me to walk in that arena, then it's a different feeling. It's a different feeling. And I only bring that up just as an easy way, not that this is about fighting. I'm just saying that when I have raised my vibration to a high level to where I see something or I communicate with something, I'm a lot less scared when I know who I truly am. When I'm not sure who I truly am and what I'm capable of and what I'm able to do, then I feel threatened that something else can do something that I feel like I can't do. So just like that guy said, if we knew who we truly were and we could explore who we truly are and we were celebrated for it, then we take the next step. And I think, I always say if, because I have my belief, obviously, right? But as a Psi guy, I say if NHIs are a real thing, if interdimensional beings are a real thing, then they're probably waiting for us to do the work